What's been the fans' reactions to this news?
Well, I think that they are hopeful for Spencer Gallagher. We've proven in the past that if you're willing to follow NASCAR's policies, to get into the Road to Recovery program and to do everything that's asked for from you, you can be back in this game in a reasonable period of time. So I don't think this is the end of the show for Spencer Gallagher. It's a huge loss for GMS Racing because they're out of the playoffs now, and that's going to cost them a lot of money, a lot of attention, and a lot of exposure down the stretch in the second half of this year.
And an emotional week, certainly, from going from victory lane on Saturday to now experiencing this today. Let's talk about what we saw in the Cup Series on Sunday. We always know Talladega is a wild card. Some drivers, it was a nice shot in the arm, and for others, it was a punch in the gut. Take me to both sides. Who gained the most from Talladega and who lost the most?
Well, the obvious answer to who gained the most is Joey Logano. It had been the better part of a year since that race team had been to victory lane. They were trying to recapture their mojo, hadn't entirely done that, but a dominant run at Talladega, a great day, all day, and a big win for that team that I think will get the snowball rolling back in the right direction again. You know, in terms of who had the worst day, you can make a long list of those guys, but I think what it comes down to, the worst of it all is when you run all day long and you execute your game plan to perfection, and then you get torn up late. Ryan Blaney, one of those. Brad Keselowski, one of those. You race all day long, and then you end up on the scrap heap. Man, that's a bad way to go. You'd almost rather blow it up on lap 2.
Really? You think? You think guys, after all practice, like to get out there after driver intros and they'd rather go on lap 2?
You know, if I blow up on lap 2, I can be home by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon instead of hanging out. Yeah.
That is a very good point. You mentioned Joey Logano. Of course, we have to talk about his victory. You know, it's been a year since his victory. He's in the playoffs, got that monkey off his back. But what do you think was the biggest part of that win?
Well, I don't think any of us doubted that he was going back to victory lane sooner than later. But until you've done it, you haven't done it. And I think that race team now is feeling a heck of a lot better about itself than it was even a couple of weeks ago, because coming close, if you don't believe me, ask Chase Elliott, coming close sometimes after a suitable amount of time can become a negative. And with Joey Logano, that was a race team that was tired of coming close.
Dave, I don't even have enough fingers to count the number of wins that Jimmie Johnson has at Dover. 11 victories, only 10 fingers. You've been asking the fans today if this is the weekend when Jimmie gets back to his winning ways. What's been the answer?
The answer has been no.
Oh.
And it has been decisively no. In the last 3.5 hours, we've had maybe 2 callers that say, yes, I think Jimmie Johnson gets back to it. The bottom line for most of them is not any dissatisfaction or any belief that Jimmie Johnson has lost whatever it takes to win. It's just questions about that new Chevy Camaro that's not quite where it needs to be yet.
Well, too bad they can't put audio on a piece of paper, because I'm sure if they could, that 48 would want to hang it on their bulletin board when they unload in Dover this weekend. Thank you so much, Dave. We'll see you next week.
All right, Shannon. Thank you.
So